All right, we are live. Greetings, fellow traders. Let me get this tweeted out here. Excuse me. Hope everybody's having a blessed weekend. Nice weekend. Hope everybody's doing good. It's hot down south. Nice up north, I think. So that's a good thing. Anyway, here we are. Another week, the week of the 12th. So futures were red a little bit ago, now they're a little bit green. So we'll see how that goes going in tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a little bit of a flat day tomorrow, just kind of choppy. But you never know. The VIX is up there, right? So it's and the implied volatility of the VIX is high too. So anything could really happen. We're still not out of the woods yet either way. So we'll see. We might get a huge move to the upside. Who knows? So we'll have to take a look at that. But basically, this is where we're at on the monthly chart. I guess maybe sound check, make sure everything's coming through okay. But basically, this is where we're at. The monthly chart, right? So far, we're almost, if you can believe it, we're almost halfway through August. But so far, right, last month, right, we had a spinning top off of the upper Bollinger Band, right? And we kind of pushed down through that really, really quickly after the Fed, right? Because the Fed was on the 31st of July, and then August got started to the downside, and now we're kind of working our way back up. So there's the month so far, red spinning top. We'll see. You never know. We might finish with a green hammer, and then all-time highs. Here we go, maybe 3,300. The weekly chart. Let's take a look. So far, so good. Yeah, last week ended up with a green hammer, right? A little bit of an upper shadow, but still. Closed over the mid-Bollinger Band on the weekly, so nice recovery on the weekly chart. The daily, inside day to finish Friday. So after a nice recovery, filling a gap here, and we had a little bit of an island top here on the SPX, right? So we had this gap right here and this gap right here, forming a island top right there, and then boom, we filled that on Thursday, and then we had an inside day on Friday. It was still quite a move on Friday. Let's take a look at the price action. These are the levels that we tweet out to subscribers before the market open. But you can see here, pretty significant stuff, right? So we pushed through several levels, right? We finally had a reverse here off of a long-term volumetric midpoint level. And then once we got through this downward trend line, right, we had a minor pivot right here, and then we pushed through that here, which gave a nice move at the end of the day. So it dropped at the beginning of the day, reversed at the end of the day, and then chopped right in the end, and then a little bit of a flush at the end. So we'll see how we open tomorrow. It should be pretty interesting as always. This does look like a nice kind of cup, handle type pattern, and so we'll see if that gets any follow through going into next week. So let's see. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Okay. So I still have the Ray Bull Power from the other day. I think it's pretty cool. I do like how the Ray Bull Power is about to cross from negative to positive, right? And that's what happened back here, back in early June with this move. So we'll see if this crossover gets through this resistance zone and gives us another explosive move to the upside to reach the top of the channel here. If it does that, if we work our way, through there, the VIX will definitely drop down. We'll get to the top of the channel. We'll see if that is another reversal point. We start heading back down, or if we consolidate a little bit and then work our way up to the top of the macro pitchfork, which again is about 3,200 area. So we'll see if that ends up manifesting itself. If not, resistance zone could test the medium pitchfork line here again. 200-day on the SPX is here at 2,800-ish. So we'll see. Those are all possibilities, but we'll see how that kind of goes, going forward. Good stuff. So that's basically that. So basically today, this week, kind of going to talk about a couple different, interesting tools that are out there, before we get into chart requests, things like that. So, but this one I found really interesting. It's called the, I think it's a proprietary at Thinkorswim, but anyway, it's called projection bands. They probably got it from somewhere else, but who knows? It didn't quite say. But if we go here, if we go to a, just like pick a chart here, and what I'm going to do is, that's tomorrow's discussion. Hold on. All right, so there we go. So what I've done is I've loaded a study called projection bands, right? And all you have to do is go to, you can go to all studies and just go to P, right? And then just go this level right here, and there we go, projection bands right there, okay? And all projection bands is a tool that basically uses a mathematical formula for prior highs and prior lows to calculate a potential future value, right? And so one of the neat things about it is, unlike Bollinger Bands, is price will never cross above or below it, just based on the way it's calculated, right? So it basically just takes whatever your lows are, whatever your highs are, and makes enough room that and adjusts accordingly. So whenever the price moves, it never actually pushes through it. So it gives a true band type formation, right? So it's not like the Keltner channel or the Bollinger Band. So it's pretty neat. And so so what we have, right, is a couple cool areas where we can see significant stuff. So even though it doesn't go through it, it does make little curves in it, which are pretty interesting and kind of significant, right? So if we go anywhere, let's see if we just kind of go back here. This is the 5-minute chart on the SPX, right? So ultimately, if you get like basically a downward curve like we see here, right? This actually happened after a gap down, right? So we had a downward curve here, then we had another curve down here, right? And so once it gets to this point where it's got these downward curvatures and those kind of start to even out a little bit, we look for price action. So right here we had an inside 5, right? And then here we didn't touch. So here's a little curve down, right? Right, sort of a doji bar up, right? And this one here, another curve down, right? You can kind of see here, right? Tail fail up here to the upside, right? Outside bar up, and then a pull back to it and up. Here's another curve down, right? And so it's kind of interesting, right? It's just something to kind of gauge. We like seeing things move in bands and, kind of move in waves. And so this is kind of one way to keep things contained, right? So here you can see there was another curve down right here. We tested, right? We moved sideways, inside bar, outside bar, and that came up, right? So that was kind of a big move on Friday. So that was a significant reversal point that, when watching this, right, we saw that it didn't touch the lows again. It didn't touch the lower of the band, and it started to curve back up, right? And then, had some price action here, which kind of warranted a potential move to the upside. So pretty cool stuff, and you can use it on any time frame, right? So we can go to the daily chart. Same thing. Actually, it looks almost identical to, it's funny, like, right, it's a fractal version of what's happened kind of in the macro level, right? If you just go here, that really looks like Friday's price action, a lot of it, right? So just except not as much sideways action, but you can kind of very, very much see here, we kind of curve down, right, touch the bottom, move back up. This was just kind of a straight decline right here, and there was no change, right, until we had a nice outside bar, kind of move down, and then back up, right here, kind of curve down, inside bar, touch, right, up. So, I mean, very, very tricky, right? I mean, this is just something just kind of give like a sort of a guide, and it also gives you kind of an idea of trend, right? So if you really, really zoom out on it, right? So just instead of just looking at price, you can kind of look at these lines and be like, oh, well, clearly I am moving up, and here clearly I'm moving down, I'm moving up. So just kind of gives you some interesting clues, and it's a fun band to at least kind of get perspective with. So this is kind of the introduction of it. Tomorrow we're going to add the oscillator to it, and we'll kind of see a cool technique to help see when. To help kind of see these reversals a little bit better, and when it makes sense to pay more attention to the price action, other than just kind of looking at the curves down and the the tags of those lower levels. So, but other than that, that does look like a fractal version of it, doesn't it? But other than that, it's kind of a neat tool. So just wanted to share that with you guys. And it's, if you like it, something that you could add to your trading arsenal. Just kind of throw out there if you're looking for a potential reversal point. So stay tuned for tomorrow, where we'll take a look at some other clues that might make this a little more interesting to look for those reversal points. So anyway, hope everybody had a great weekend. If anybody has any questions at this point or chart requests, please feel free to plug those into the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can. We'll try to wrap up, the latest by 10:30, so we can get a great night's sleep, so we can start this week off right and have an awesome week this week. Yeah, so futures are already starting to get a little bit stronger. We were -2 a little bit ago. Now we're +6. So we'll see if that carries over into tomorrow. It would have been interesting to have a little bit of a down move that could have been buyable. So, but sort of buy the dip type stuff into Monday, right? Because you can kind of see how we finished right here, right? We kind of pushed down, right? So it would have been cool to just get a little bit more and then to have a nice, dip buying into the open. But we'll see what that does. We'll see what we get going into tomorrow. So at this point, yes, let's check things out. So good. James, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Julian, how are you, my friend? Hope you had a great weekend. Awesome week last week. Session, what's happening? Good to see you. SMDC4S, what is up? Friday late SPX move was called a trapdoor close. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I see exactly what you're saying. Right. You know what's interesting? I saw a cool tweet this weekend or the other day that said that companies stopped buying back their stocks at 350. I don't know if it's valid or not. It came from the CMT group type folks, and so at about like 350, right, we started to see that kind of massive move down. But yeah, I see that trapdoor close. Like, oh yeah, everything's great. Whoa, so pretty neat stuff there. But so yeah, something to keep an eye on. Certainly, I don't know if they do that every day or just on Fridays, whatever the case is. But something to keep an eye on, kind of going forward. It's like, okay, the reason that whatever, Facebook is good. I need to see the. Hey, Sarah. Good evening. Oh, Bank of America. Yeah, let's take a look. Da da da. Da da da. All right, let's look at the daily chart. So you guys might have noticed I've added some blue bars into this. This is something new I've added this week. So the yellow ones were the inside bar, the blue are outside bars, which is pretty cool stuff. We didn't talk about it too much during our price action series, but they are pretty significant. And you can see, we can occasionally get some pretty big moves off of it, right? We had this big outside bar right here. We got continuation down. Right here's, outside bar. We kind of paused a little bit and then moved. Right, outside bar here, move up, right, that type of thing. So right now, Bank of America on Friday gave an outside bar, right? It's a bit of a harami outside bar. It's not one of these, so it's similar to this. But we'll see if we get some movement on it, right? So it kind of looks like an extended sort of kind of morning star type reversal, right? If this were one big bar and this were one big bar, right? That type of thing. So we see if we get a move here. If we do, a nice push up would be good, to start filling that gap too. So let's kind of see this here. We have this level down right here. Okay, so we already had this kind of minor pivot here, but this could be a secondary minor pivot, right? If you look at that, right? So kind of a breakout over Friday's highs could trigger that, a gap fill going on that. So that is possible. SMDC4S, McClellan Oscillator closed minus 87.9. Work its way up. Eric, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you for your support. Feel free if you have any questions or chart requests, plug them into the chat box, and anything else, feel free to DM me or email me. Jimmy, how's it going? Hey, glad you made it. Hope everything's going okay, man. Daryl, what's happening? Starbucks, thanks for mentioning that one. So Starbucks, guys, the freight train, the coffee train. This thing has just been non-stop like all year. So let's see if it's what it's done here so far. Yep. Buying pullbacks on this thing has just been, the way to go. So like ultimately we've got here, if we just take this all the way back to there, right, high, there. So basically any pullback right to this trend line has been buyable, right? So it's like, ooh, buy, right, buy, right? So, maybe Starbucks will give us a little pullback that we could buy. This thing has just been good. I can't believe it hasn't cleared 100 yet. I certainly think it will. I've got an alert here already for when it gets to kind of these levels. I think once we get to this 99.72 and start to push above it, I think we'll see a quick move, to like 102, 104. This thing, it's just been a monster recently. So, and did it go ex-dividend? It went ex-dividend the other day, still kind of working its way up. Kind of a little doji sandwich here too, right? So we have this here, kind of spinning top right here. So if we can get above, the yesterday's or Friday's close, we might see another move off of that too. So it might be in play on Friday too. TJF, what's going on? McDonald's? Absolutely. Mickey D's. So one thing about McDonald's, right, is and we've talked about this for a while, is that it really respects this channel that it's been in, right? And until proven otherwise, right, or it's kind of following this channel, right? So this has been way back here. We've been on top of McDonald's for a while, right? We had this wave 5 up. We had this, ABC correction, right? We caught a couple moves in there, and then it's just been this, impulsive wave up, right? So if anything, it's still working on a wave 3 somehow, like 1, 2, whatever. So it's still working until it shows a significant breakdown through this channel, right? And the channel could almost be adjusted at this point, right? So it can kind of go like even like that, right? We're right there. You can see that perfectly. So we have just tagged the top of this channel. So if it is I got an alert here. You guys know I missed it when it hit here last time for a short, and so I tried to catch it. So like anybody who's with me on the live stream, it's like I missed that 218 when it went through it, and then it kind of came back up and missed my 217 by like a tick, and then went without me. So we'll see if it gets it here. I've got an alert right here at 221.92. Just to see if we can get over a little bit over Friday's highs, and it might be good for a bit of a reversal. Just be careful, right? Obviously, the trend is up, and here's the upward trend line. So, the reversal would basically possibly be, move from 222 to like 218 or something like that. So, but it could be ready for that. But we'll see. We'll see what it does. So just keep an eye on that trend line too. So it could be interesting. Snap. Snap. So pretty cool stuff. Algo 382, Paul mentioned this earlier, but real nice bar right here, right on Thursday, and kind of a pause bar, almost like a doji sandwich too, a little spinning top sandwich, really. So we'll see if we can break through here and give another move. But it's got some potential, right? It's got some potential. So we have a closing gap right here. It could try to work its way up to that 18 level. I do like Snap. Let's see. And let's see. Let's add that to here. Okay. Yeah, it's a Snap. Looking good. And Amazon, guys, we've been stocking this for a while. It's been giving us all the setups, but it's been a little bit sneaky here. So you can see we had a nice downward trend line, right, that we got over on Thursday, which gave us a minor pivot, right? Then we have an inside day on Friday. So if it gets over the inside day, that could trigger the Thursday minor pivot up, and then it might start to really kind of change, fully change trend here. So we'll see how that works. It could be pretty interesting. B, how's it going? Netflix and AMD, absolutely. So Netflix is very similar to Amazon. You can see it's had this, it's sometimes it's like I wish Thinkorswim would just kind of maintain these trend lines. But the idea is it's very similar to Amazon. It broke out of its downward trend line on Thursday, tried to get above it on, actually got slightly above it on Friday, and so that kind of gives us a minor pivot here. So it would really need to push above Friday's highs to kind of get a move, and then it might kind of work its way back into this kind of old congestion zone that we have up here. So basically, over Friday's highs, there's a shot at getting over 330. So very, very, it is possible. AMD, let's take a look. And then we got an explosive move on Friday over that Thursday high, which is very possible, right? Because it triggered, this recent, these pivot highs too. So that just kind of gave that momentum move up for a nice move up. And then it kind of came back, now turned into a bit of a topping tail here. But you can see it is trying to put in, to get stable here and put some new highs in and kind of hold up there. So pretty impressive stuff on AMD. Yeah, Jimmy. Yeah, so that was kind of neat. No buybacks under 350. So it's kind of fascinating how it just kind of went down like right then. So it's like, oh, so they're just buying their stocks up and then the market goes down. So S&EZ4S, it's rare. Yeah. Shirley, how's it going? Good to see you. Hope you had a great weekend, Jimmy. Could you please look at BKNG and gold? Yeah. So BKNG. Let's take a look. We talked about this the other day. Very, very difficult to trade with options, but it had earnings after the close here, right? A couple days ago. Nice move up, right? So congratulations to anybody who had any lottos on that. So nice move there. Inside day here. So good push here. A push over Thursday's highs could trigger a move over this recent pivot here and then start to work its way up, kind of this upper pitchfork here around 2000, maybe even 2020. So that could be pretty interesting there. And then gold. Yeah, so let's just take a look at gold futures, see how that's looking. Surely everybody knows these have had a big pop recently, right? Here's that kind of bump and run that we were talking about. And so right now it's kind of holding up pretty well. Double inside day on gold futures last week. Tried to break to the downside here, and looks like it might be trying to work its way back up too. So we'll see how it holds in this consolidation pattern. Might be sort of a bull flag that's working on, a little pennant. We'll see, but it is holding above the fib fan lines here, so we'll see if that continues. Otherwise, you might see that. Here's the bump, right? We might see the run kind of coming soon, so just kind of keep an eye on that. So NetPry, what's happening? Cisco and J&J. So Cisco has earnings this week, so keep an eye out on that. So we'll see if it can kind of get out of this kind of messy downtrend area here. Let's see. So we have this. This is a really, really sharp decline it had, right? And then kind of a minor pivot, try to get above it, right? So, over Thursday's highs could get a move, but obviously we're gonna have to see what earnings has in store because it's got some gaps up here. If it gaps down, then you could watch out for a potential drop, right? Potential gap and go to the downside. So if it gets below that minor pivot down there, and then J&J. Well, they had that. They won some lawsuit the other day, but let's see. So I had some positive stuff. But anyway, spinning top right here. Be careful with this, right? On a move up here, it could be a reversal top, right? Reversal spinning top, and then work its way back down. So it's just been struggling, right? It's had these downward trend lines, been trying to get out, had a couple big moves, big days, but then just kind of drifted back up and chopped around. So at this point, we're just seeing some chop. So we might see another move back down here to kind of like these 129 levels possibly. So something to keep an eye on. Albert, good evening. Twitter, XOM, and Microsoft. Da, 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 da. Twitter, holding up okay. It's given a very, very challenging. You're kind of given like a triangle right here. After its earnings gap, right? It's held it pretty well. It had a nice bottoming tail right here. Inside outside day, tried to work its way back up. Seems like it's chopping around in here. I would give it a couple days to see if it can give a push one way or the other. But it's holding its gap pretty well, so I would imagine that it's going to try to work its way back up. So keep an eye on that. XOM. XOM, guys. These were, it's funny when you take your eyes off a stock now and again, right? Here's the low. It's kind of a minor pivot. This is your minor pivot high right here. This bar was actually catchable. So you can see I didn't even have the downward trend line on this. This is off the radar. Minor pivot right here, and then it gave that nice push up, right? We were stocking this one for a while back here, right? We caught a little bit. We made some profit on this, I think overnight one of these days back here. But here, this is a great one right here. Nice minor pivot right there. Gave a nice push through that on Thursday and kind of went back down on these. But keep an eye on it. It's got coming ex-dividend the other day. CVX was the same. I look at that this weekend. I was like, there we go again. Look at that huge bar right there. I think I've got the downward trend line on this right here, right? Yep. So look at that. Same thing. Wednesday, minor pivot. Nice break above that on CVX. That's a huge bar for this stock. That would have been an incredible move, right, on options on that one, and then just kind of pulled back a little bit. But that is it, right? This is what we look for. That downward trend line, minor pivot right here, break through that level and up. And so really, really nice. We could see, it had that bump and run move too. So that was good. All in one bar. All in one bar. And then Microsoft. Let's see. So Mr. Softy here has been tricky, right? So this also has been, like McDonald's, was respecting a channel. Now it's kind of breaking down out of it, guys. This is actually kind of showing a change in composure here. So, just be careful with this. A little minor pivot here, a little move, and then kind of back up. Watch what it does here, ex-dividend. But, if we kind of zoom out and see, it gave one move out of this channel here previously and kind of got back in. I'm starting to think that maybe something's wrong with this channel. No, it was intact. So just be really, really careful, guys. If this fails and we break down below here, right, this 130 level, right, McDonald's could be, in some trouble. Not McDonald's, Microsoft. So I'm just going to put alert down there, just kind of keep our eyes on it. But really, really neat stuff. Otherwise, you can get back in the channel and just, kind of keep working its way up. So, but in the meantime, just be careful, right? That's a scary little breakdown out of the channel. Manoj, what's happening? Let's see. So we have. All right. So how should we average out options? So some people in my circle suggested you should not buy the same option if the price moves down. Rather look at the closest entry point in the same stock option. Yeah. So it depends on what your time frame is, right? So if you're day trading, yeah, it depends what the setup is, right? And what you're working on. So if you're just averaging down, right, you can really just get crushed and just lose all your premium, right? So sometimes it does. It just depends on what the setup is, right? So if we take a look at I think Facebook, I looked at that a minute ago. And it depends what day it is too, right, Manoj? So you have to be careful as well, because if it's expiration day, unless you're trading for a lotto type move, right, meaning you're risking everything anyway, you don't want to average down certainly on an expiration day, right? That's really, really dangerous because it's a great way to get really destroyed on it, right? But let's say just let me see if I can find like a setup here that looked interesting. Let's just say it looks like I had a downward trend line right here on Facebook, right? Let's say we were trading off of the 1.618 extension off of the 30 orb here, right? So let's say we saw this spinning top and we really thought that was going to be a reversal, right? So So we might look for an entry here, but like possibly in this 30-minute bar, let's say, we got like the 180, let's say we got the 190s or something like that, right? And on Friday, that's really risky, right? Because those are out of the money. Maybe they're 20 cents or something like that. And if it pulls back a little bit in here, right, we might not see the big move. So, we might get to the point where we average down, and unless you're just waiting for it to go, right, we might see a, like a, they might go to zero, right? Or we might see an explosive move, which is possible, but you're risking everything, right? You're risking your whole premium. So it is a good point, right? So if you really believe in this setup and you're saying, okay, well, as long as it doesn't break down under here on the common chart, right, then maybe I'll, look to add something else. So on expiration day is one of the main considerations, right? So you just have to watch for that theta burn, right? Otherwise, you look for in the money type stuff. The deeper in the money you go, obviously the more expensive they get, but the more they behave like the stock itself, right? So the cheaper you go, right, is typically the more out of money you are, and then any pullbacks you get, especially the closer you get to expiration, can really be painful. So that's kind of the idea. Typically I don't average down on my positions, right? Day trading wise, I look for a very precise entry. And I look for a move. I have kind of a general stop in place, and then if I get that move, then I can move stops and kind of trim and trail on the way up. That type of idea, right? It depends on what the setup is. If it's really really strong, gives another potential setup while in the trade, you might look at adding to that position, right? But ultimately, day trading wise, I want to look for a particular setup, right? So it just all depends on your strategy. So yeah. Prayer Kid, what's happening? Dimitri, hey, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Dennis, what's going on? Howdy. Robin, how are you? Good evening. Let's take a look at QQQ real quick for Robin, because it is Sunday, and we may as well take a look at it. We haven't looked at it in a while. So QQQ, very, very similar. As we'll take a look at Disney real quick, too, just for fun. So Disney's was actually really, really interesting, right? So it kind of gave this Morningstar reversal right here, Dave, but it never, went above it because of earnings, right? So it dropped below that. So it's interesting, right? How these some stock patterns fail despite because of earnings, right? Because you just can't predict it, right? So it's a big down move here, but it's reclaimed pretty well. So that kind of gives us back to this downward trend line. Very, very minor pivot over this downward trend line. So look for a breakout above that, from Friday's high. And then Roku, Heather, that's a nice one. I was actually just going to think about talking about that. So I don't know if you guys know, but I have officially removed Google from FANG, and I'm now calling it NARF because I want Roku to replace Google. Google has just been impossible to trade this year, so I've just taken it off altogether. Roku's just been fantastic. So big moves on Roku, guys. Nice gap and go potential on Thursday, and then Friday, a nice push, right? This is a good technique, right? Whenever you gap up after earnings, a push above that high can give you a nice move, and so that's what it did on Friday. Very, very big move right there, and that actually happened at the open. So some subscribers profited from that nicely, so that was good. So it's holding up real well here. So just kind of see if it gives us any future patterns to trade. And then I believe you just said Apple. Inside outside bar right here. Okay. Nice gap up. So basically this was the downward trend line from Apple, so it has to get over Thursday's highs in order for it to become interesting again. It goes ex-dividend, went ex-dividend the other day. So look to see how it does. See if we can get over Thursday's highs for a push. Put an alert there. Just to take an eye, take a look at it. So good stuff. Shirley, how's it going? BLL? Take a look. BL, very strong move right after earnings, right? You can see right here, guys, this is very, very similar, right? So we had a big high right here off of earnings. We got a nice push through that afterward, right? So even if it comes a couple days afterward, you can still see those nice pushes through it. So yeah, very, very bullish here, Shirley, for sure. And then Cube. Cube Smart, very nice. Let's take a look, see if we can get a little trend line up here. High there. So, bullish until proven otherwise. Might pull back to this trend line. Just watch out. It's a little bit it's wicky, right? It's got, shadowy. It's got big upper shadows and lower shadows. So just be careful with trading that. Melly, which means it can be prone to annoying reversals. Mercado Libre, wow, yeah, this is a big one. I don't know why this wasn't on my radar the other day, but big move off the gap. But you can even see here 693 to 698. So a nice 5-point move as it broke through its gap up highs, right? And so this looks very similar to Roku, right? So it's just kind of working right here. You can guys see this for any newsletter subscribers. We talked a lot about the gap and go this weekend. So look at that. It kind of pushed through all those highs and gave that nice move on Thursday. Crowd CRWD. CrowdStrike. Very similar. Try to give a push out of this pivot high here on the daily, and then kind of came back in. Just watch out. It's finding a little bit of resistance up here at these highs. Pins. Pins is trying, guys. It's trying. So it had this, huge earnings move, right? It's had trouble to get up to these levels, So at this point, I'm just kind of watching it for maybe a breakout over, eventually if it can get over 35, I think it can get some momentum. So let's just put another alert up there. So we'll keep stalking that one. And then Cruise. Inside day. So Cirrus Logic, yeah. So just kind of keeping on a big move off of earnings, right? So that was a nice, gap and go potential on that one. Inside day, that looks a little, like jumpy here, but look at this inside day, see if we can give you a little move off of that. So that looks pretty interesting there. Otherwise, it's kind of forming like a, pennant, large pennant triangle right here. Trade Center, what's happening? What moving average are you using and how many days? It just all depends, right? I mean, so, here, like on the monthly, I'll use like the 50 SMA, right? I'm going to use Bollinger Band here. Obviously, that's the 20 SMA there. I use the VWAP on the shorter-term time frames. That's the purple one, right? So if you're talking about the purple one, I use that there. And then on the, just here, I just kind of have the, on the daily chart here, I just have the 50 and the 200. Just a couple, basic stuff, just kind of get perspective on it. Shirley WPM. Yeah, I mean it's actually still holding up pretty well, right? I mean gold was like a little interesting double inside day, but this is still looking pretty aggressive here. Just watch that upper fib fan line. AZN. Ooh, careful with this one, sure. This thing jumps around a lot. That could give you some headaches. Right, but the trend is up until proven otherwise. INWK. Wow, big move, right? Nice bounce up, but talk about like taking out a bunch of pivot levels. Very, very strong, guys. Lots of volume came in this one. This one might be coming to life here. It's 450. So see if we can get like see if we can hold that. WPRT. That was a double on the side. That looks like that was like an option right there. Nice hammer on this one. So very, very bullish there. AMAG. Wow, lots of green bars here. Let's wait till that kind of comes back in here. Yeah, lots of green bars here, right? Lots of buying going on this one. So just be careful here. It's got to get over this pivot, right? Once it can do that, then you're looking good. Wow, you got a lot of stuff. Sure, I'm going to have to skip over a few of these. Let's take a look at MRK. WW is looking good. I looked at that the other day. MRK. Yep, still working its way up this channel, right? It's back into a macro channel too, so I do like that as long as it holds this, Friday's open. That could be a nice move right there. No problem, NetFry, my pleasure. And we'll take a look at ACAD. Also very bullish. Definitely bullish until proven otherwise. Look at that. I got over that prior fib fan too, so that's nice. Albert, what's going? What generally happens usually goes down, right? Because they pay out their dividend, right? That's when they pay out their dividend, right? And so, when a company shells out a bunch of money, right, usually it generally lowers the value of the stock, at least temporarily. But it usually makes good dip buying, especially in a bull market. So you usually see a little bit of a dip on that, and then kind of a reversal after that. So you just got to be careful if you're swinging, especially with options, because if it drops down, you can get kind of in trouble there. Thank you, Robin. Bless you too. Appreciate it. Leo, what's got any comments on AMD? AMD tend to fall back every time it reaches 34. I know, right? Yeah, we probably, we probably could. We just have to see. It's been really, really strong recently. It's pushed through a lot of these key levels, which means they're buying. They had a huge deal with Twitter and Google recently, right, for handling their stuff. So we had a big push through all these old gaps and all these levels. It did, like you said, it did try to push up here, but the market was was pulling back too. So it's got to get and stay above, 34, 35. And once it could do that, then we'll look for new setups, right? So I wouldn't try to be too tactical in those areas unless you see something interesting. So good stuff. Manoj, my pleasure. Sarah, thank you. James. Oh, Siri. Thoughts on Siri? I don't know. Is it still under $10? I haven't looked at it in a while. Let's see. It's been so hard to trade for like years. Yeah, it's still $6 or whatever. So I don't know. I would just kind of chill with it. At this point, right, we had this upward trend line and it has broke down below it. You can see here, guys, it kind of dipped down here. What was this? Well, actually, it was up here, but usually you see a little dip ex dividend, right? So just watch here. If it breaks below this low, this 594, then you could see another push to the downside. Maybe it'll get to, I don't know, 580 or 570. But it was trending up, and now it's kind of showing a possible breakdown right here. So. All right, guys, good stuff. Hope you guys found that helpful. Yeah, the projection bands are pretty interesting. So we'll continue that discussion tomorrow a little bit. But good stuff. I'm really looking forward to this week ahead. I think it's gonna be fun. We got some cool earnings this week. We've got Nvidia, Cisco, and some other cool ones too. I think Walmart's on the weekly list, so we should have a pretty fun week this week. So good stuff. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your evening, and I hope you found this helpful. Anybody who's new here, please subscribe on YouTube and check out our Twitter page and some of the other links there in the description. So have a great rest of your evening, everybody, and remember your risk first and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And I'll talk to you soon.